So, India is kicking off something huge. We're talking about one of the most ambitious educational transformations in modern history. It's a massive plan to completely reshape how an entire generation learns, thinks, and grows. And right at the heart of it all is a challenge of almost unbelievable scale. And when I say the scale is big, I mean it is just staggering. Look at this number: 260 million students. That's not a typo. That's the entire student population of India. Now, just think about it. How do you provide personalized, empathetic mentorship to a group that large? It seems pretty much impossible. So that's the core question, isn't it? How do you possibly meet the unique needs of every single child, especially when you're dealing with vast economic, geographic, and of course, linguistic barriers? This is the exact problem a brand new project is setting out to answer. To really get the solution, first we've got to understand the ambition that's driving all of this. There's this huge national vision, and it's been formalized in a really groundbreaking policy. And listen, this isn't just about getting better test scores. No, this is about fundamentally changing the whole purpose of education in India. Okay, so the roadmap for all this is India's National Education Policy. You'll hear it called NEP 2020. And this thing is a really big deal. It's calling for a major shift away from just memorizing facts for a test. Instead, it's pushing for a system where students actually learn by doing, by asking questions, and by following their own curiosity. It's a beautiful vision, for sure. But again, how do you make that a reality for 260 million kids? And this, right here, is where technology steps into the picture. To tackle this massive challenge, the proposal is an AI companion, a solution designed not just to be smart, but to actually be wise. And here it is. Meet MANAS. The vision for MANAS is to be an ethical AI companion, basically a guide that's in every student's pocket. The name itself, MANAS, is a Sanskrit word for the mind. So the whole idea is to build a tool that has this vast collective knowledge of human experience, but can communicate it with the patience and care of a mentor who really gets you. So what does this actually look like in practice? Let's start with the youngest learners, where those foundations of confidence and curiosity are just being built. Let's take a 6-year-old named Sheshav. He's dealing with a fear that, let's be honest, every single one of us has felt. The fear of making a mistake, of failing. And that feeling, it can stop learning dead in its tracks. And what's so fascinating is how MANAS responds. It doesn't just correct him. It reframes his entire perspective on what failure even is. It tells him mistakes are just good tries. I mean, that little shift in language is huge. It directly supports that NEP goal of replacing the fear of getting it wrong with the actual joy of learning. Okay, let's move up to a 10-year-old, Keshav. His questions, as you can see, are getting more complex. He's touching on social anxiety, but also a really critical issue, personal safety. And these are nuanced topics, right? They require a really careful guiding hand. So MANAS does two really important things here. First, it gives him some emotional validation. It helps him separate his friend's feelings from his own self-worth. But second, and this is crucial, it gives him a crystal clear, simple rule for safety, and it's rooted in the concept of dharma, or one's duty. The rule is simple. If a secret makes you feel scared or unsafe, it is your duty to tell a grown-up. All right, next up we have Dia, who's 12. Now, her problem is really interesting because it's a mix of science, engineering, and ethics. She's not just trying to solve a geometry problem. She wants to make her solution fair. And this right here, this is a perfect example of that multidisciplinary approach the NEP is aiming for. MANAS doesn't just spit out a formula. It points her towards ancient Indian wisdom, the Zing water systems of Ladakh. And these systems were designed based on the principle of ahimsa, or non-harm. The lesson here is so profound. The best technology is actually compassionate technology. So as students get older, their challenges, they evolve. So now let's see how MANAS adapts to support teenagers who are navigating much more complex internal and academic pressures. So here's Raghav. He's 14, and he's asking this deeply introspective question about emotional intelligence. You know that confusing feeling of being sad for no obvious reason? And then you got that social pressure to always be happy on top of it. What's so crucial here is that MANAS starts by just validating his feelings. Then it introduces this powerful concept from Indian philosophy, Sakshi, which means the witnessed. This is the practice of observing your own emotions almost like a neutral third party, without any judgment. It's a really practical tool for building emotional literacy. And finally, we've got Madhav. He's 16, and he's right in the middle of that immense pressure of exams. His brain is too loud. I mean, what a perfect description of anxiety. And he doesn't just want study tips. He's asking how to feel brave. So MANAS gives him a clear 2-step strategy. Step 1 is an immediate mindfulness technique to just calm the nervous system. 3 slow breaths. Super simple, but incredibly effective. Then step 2 is a practical action plan to get back a sense of control. It helps him transform that overwhelming mountain of exams into small, manageable steps. And it's not just for feelings or stress. For really complex subjects like history, MANAS does something super clever. It uses modern analogies to make these abstract concepts actually stick. For example, here, it compares the administration of the Maratha Confederacy to how a decentralized global corporation works. And suddenly, what might have been a dry historical fact becomes this relatable, logical structure. So, we've seen what MANAS does, but what's truly revolutionary is how it's designed to think. You see, it's built on this foundation of ancient ethical principles. The first pillar is Dharma, and this is all about understanding one's duty or a righteous path. For Keshav, remember, it was the duty to tell a grown-up about an unsafe secret. For Madhav, it was about reframing his nervousness as a sign that he cares about his duty to study. It connects his actions to a real sense of purpose. The second pillar is Sakshi, the witness, which we saw with Rokov. And this isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's about understanding them. It's a tool for introspection that helps build resilience and self-awareness, starting from a really young age. And the third pillar is Ahimsa, or non-harm. For Dia, this meant designing that water system to be not only efficient, but also compassionate towards nature and fair to the entire community. It literally embeds empathy right into the process of problem solving. So this whole MANAS project leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. It suggests that the future of technology, especially for something as human as education, might not just be about processing more and more data. It might actually lie in embedding timeless wisdom, compassion, duty, self-awareness, into the very code that guides us. It's a vision where AI isn't just an information engine, but a true companion for the mind.